This video, we will be talking about off-season focus, new gear, shoes. So if you're out there running Ironman Chattanooga, Ironman Florida, you have plenty of time. Your Ironman Tulsa, Ironman 70.3 Des Moines, Boulder, St. George, any of those races, you got a little less time. But want to plant the seed now in the off-season program. If you came off your season and weren't really happy with your shoes, they weren't comfortable, you're looking to find a new brand, your model got discontinued, whatever the case may be, off season is now the time to be kind of fiddling with it, experimenting, exploring, testing out new shoes, the opportunity to see what really works for you, set yourself up for the next year to be able to do all your races and not have to worry about your feet being a problem, because you're going to do a lot of pounding on the feet over the year and with your training, and you don't want to jack up your feet or make problems that you didn't have before by having shoes that weren't really ready for you. So know or find out what your feet do. Are you flat-footed? Do you have high arches, fallen arches? Do you pronate? Do you supinate? Are you neutral? Do you need extra wide shoes? Are you a size 14 or 15? I have a couple athletes, very 6'9", he's got size 14, 15 shoes or something ridiculous. Sometimes it's just kind of hard to find shoes that fit in a model that works for your feet. So maybe orthotics is kind of where you have to go. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So you also have to pay attention. Humans are not symmetric. We look symmetric down the middle. If you cut us in half, it should fold over and be a nice mirror image of each other, but we are not symmetric. I think most of us know this by now. Usually there's one side that's a little bit bigger than the other, especially for feet. Personally, I have one foot that is a size smaller than the other one. I can't remember off the top of my head to save my life which one's which. So when I try on shoes, I have to try both on. I can't just try on the right foot and be like, I'm good to go. And then I get home and I'm like, that doesn't work. Make sure you know the size of your foot, and also consider that not all brands of models, size 12 is not size 12 for ASIC and Nike, Zoom Fly versus Quantum 180, whatever. Make sure that you know what size your foot is and what it corresponds to in that model. Some models even go as far as to actually measure your foot with a tape measure, and you can actually kind of go off a sizing guide with that. But I would recommend, once you find a good shoe size for you, if you're gonna try it out, especially now we're getting into the holidays here at this time of making this video, now's the time. Black Friday's coming out, lots of deals coming out. You could get maybe a little bit higher price shoe for a little bit lower cost, and maybe just try it out and see if it works for you. But before you do that, I would highly recommend hitting either a run store or a sports physician, sports doctor for a foot analysis. Excuse me. A lot will do an analysis. They have a little mat that you walk on to check your arches, to check your feet, flat-footed, fallen arches, high arches, whatever. So they give you recommendations on that. They can also look, do you pronate, do you supinate, are you neutral? So they can give you recommendations. Here's your guidelines for your shoe. They may be able to go as far as to recommend different kinds of shoes for you. So know what your feet do, know what they look like. So you're ready when the sales hit, kind of watch your shoes, and you can go out and say, okay, I'm going to get those ASICs Quantum 180s are on sale. So this is what I found on sale, and they kind of work with my feet. I've done the 360s before. They did okay for me, but this was the right price, and I made sure that I kind of loaded up on them. Right now, I was okay with my shoes that I have. I usually do 2 on rotation, one that I take around with me to do workouts, and one I throw in the basement on my treadmill. So make sure you know if these shoes work for you. When you can go online, these other shoes I use, GT 2000 Series 7. Series 6 was awesome. That's what I have on my feet right now. Series 7, they're okay. I'm breaking them in, and they're feeling a little bit better. But I knew that the overall they'd work for me. You can go online, and a lot of these brands have what their shoes do, what they look like, if they're better for neutral people, pronators, supinators, high arches, low arches. But that sports doctor can also possibly get you into orthotics that are good for your feet. So if you have problems with them, you can get a good setup regardless of what type of shoe. You can get a good shoe that's set for you, but you can also get an orthotic that really hones it in for you. Personally, I had a lot of athletes that are having problems with plantar fasciitis, some other stuff, and they had to go in. And once you get to the point where you're putting on 20, 30, you get Ironman training, if you're really on the high end, 40, 50 miles a week, you're really going to have to hone into what those shoes are doing to your feet. Make sure, done a whole nother talk about when to rotate out your shoes, done little Facebook Lives about it on my Facebook page. Really, you're going to have to dig in there. You can't just use the shoes that you've had for years or torn up. You're out there mowing the lawn with them. You cannot take those out and running. I don't care if you get $50 shoes and they work for you and you just get 3 or 4 of them and you go through the season with them. If you have to have the $150 shoes, if you got enough the disposable income or whatever you want to call it to go out and buy those types of shoes, knock it out. If you want to look great out there and have the latest whiz bang shoes, you want the Nike Fly 4 whatever with carbon plates in them, hey, go for it. You know, if you want to be the next Jan Frodeno with their Asics that's coming out with the Zoom Fly competitor or whatever, you know, just make sure that you find a shoe that works for you. I don't care if it's $50, $200, whatever you can afford, make sure that shoe works, and then make sure you talk to a professional to know exactly if that shoe will work for you. Load up for the season. So if you find a shoe that works, personally, this was an awesome sale. I kind of kicked myself. I only bought 1 pair because right now I don't really need that many more. But looking at Ironman Florida 2020 for myself, and especially for you doing Ironman Chattanooga 2020, that's a long ways out. My shoes I have on right now, I probably have like 100 miles or so. My treadmill shoes, they've got a little bit like 75, but basically I'm going to do Ironman Tulsa personally. I'm going to put a lot of miles on those shoes and in between do a few halves, get that out of full. I am probably going to run through all of my shoes at that point. So load up. If you find a shoe that works for you, you've tried them out, I would not load up until you've tried them out. Either go to your local run store, spend a few extra bucks just to have a pair, try them out. If they work great for you, make sure you're putting them on rotation about 300 miles or about 6 months. Sorry, that's usually these things start degrading at that point. It's not, you know, it's not stuff made for the space shuttle. So it's not meant to last forever. And you run them past that point, that's when you're looking at injuries. It's not necessarily the shoe style. It's going to be a possibility of you just run past the life of the shoe. So spend a little extra, test them out. If it's a brand you like, pay attention to either off-season or Black Friday sales or seasonal sales, or if a model is going out of style and it's going on clearance, now's the time to load up, especially at shoe stores. I always am touring the closeout, the clearance racks and everything. I found my wife's shoes. I find my shoes. My wife's very specific on the shoes that work for her feet. I'm a little bit specific. I have a few models of Asics that I can use. But now's the time, figure out the shoe, and then load up. So like I said, I kicked myself. I wish I would have loaded up with these. I know they work for me. I've had a pair that was pretty similar in the past. Wish I'd have got more of them because they're sold out now. I can't go back and kind of lost the opportunity. But anyway, I digress. So keep in mind, race day shoes. So when you do load up, you want to have a fresh pair of shoes ready for your race day. So when you're getting to a race, you don't want to have shoes that don't have enough miles in. They're not truly broken in because that could cause blisters and other issues. But you also don't want them at the end of their life cycle. So if you're out there and you're mile 20 and you're trying to hammer it home, if your shoe's giving out on you and it's not giving you support, that's just going to add to your overall fatigue. So make sure that when you do load up, you've timed out your shoes right, that you've got your race day shoes in your rotation. So you get about 75 to 100 miles on them. So they're nice and broken in, but they're not anywhere near to the end of their lifestyle or lifespan. Do keep in mind, though, that even if you don't use these shoes, if you let them sit around, the foam gets stiff over time. So if you've got a pair of shoes in your closet that have been there for over a year and you bust them out and you're wondering, these feel different, that foam and stuff, that stuff hardens up over time. It's plastic, it's foam, it's not going to be perfect, and especially if it's sitting there for a long period of time. So don't have them for too long and not use them. But race day, make sure you've got them properly broken in. Don't, a month out, be still jacking around with figuring out what type of shoe fits for you, what kind of model fits. Like I said, if you, worst case scenario, your shoe's in the life cycle and then you cannot find the style that you fit your feet right, maybe the brand or the model went out of manufacture or anything, you can't find it online or anywhere. You know, worst case, you go and try to figure out another brand or model that will work for you. But once you get to race day, make sure that you have the right shoe and you're ready. Don't be caught off guard, especially Ironman Chattanooga people, talking to you, 2020, Ironman Florida people, 2020. We've got plenty of time to figure this out. Off seasons is now the time to figure this out. Don't put it on the back burner, add it to your to-do list. I love my online to-do list. Like I have my app on my phone, I got on my computer, it keeps reminding me. I set a reminder. It's like, okay, next week, whatever. Have something there that says I need to check my shoes. Don't get a month out and be like, oh, I'm still kind of jacking around with it. Figure it out now. Now's the time, a little bit less training, a little bit more time to work with, especially like I said, those off-season sales or the winter sales, holiday sales coming up, plenty of opportunities. Black Friday's coming up. Load up. Find a shoe that works for you. Maybe this week you go out and you go to a shoe store, you find one that kind of works for you, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go with these. Watch for the sales, load up, and be ready for that next season. Ironman told some people, you can still do this too. There's still plenty of time, but make sure you get that locked in, get your shoes ready, get everything ready to go. Like I said, I think for Ironman Tulsa, I'm pretty set up. We'll see what happens, but Ironman Chattanooga people, like I said, you're going to need enough, especially if you do maybe a 2-shoe rotation, or if you do 300 miles, you're going to rack that up pretty quick over time with your training. So you may need 2-3 pairs to kind of get you through. 2 pairs minimum to get you 2, and then cycle in the new pair so you're ready for race day. But down here is just a little diagram, pronation. You look on ASIC's website, they have a nice for each model. They've got a little bit of description of pronation. Are you neutral? Are you pronate? Are you supinate? Are you over pronation? There's all kinds of things you spend hours on. And I'm at the surface level of knowledge about it. Once you go to a sports physician or a podiatrist even, they've got that information that they can really dig into you and tell you what your body is set up for. Because if you've got ankle problems, if you got foot problems, you got Achilles problems, you got hip problems, you got other problems, they could all be tied to your shoes. So make sure that you're taking care of this, especially in the off season, especially now we're getting to times where kids are off school. Maybe you got a span of vacation days for work. Make that appointment now. Just go see a doctor. You got flexible spending money left out there to pay for copays and everything. Pay for the testing, pay for orthotics. Get it done now. Now's the time. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't be like, I'll do it after New Year or whatever. Don't put it off. Off season's now the time to revise, check out your gear. If you're trying to try new gear, especially shoes we're talking about today, get in there, figure it out. As always, if you have questions, let me know. Drop me an email, drop a comment, and I'll always get back to you.